Everyone's talking about climate change. But what is our climate? And why is it changing? Our climate is the Earth's normal weather over a very long time. It usually takes hundreds or thousands of years for the climate to change. But recently, our climate has been changing much faster. All these changes make life harder for our plants, animals, and for people around the world. And the biggest cause of climate change is humans, including you and me. When we use fuel like oil and gasoline, or remove forests to make room for cities or farms, we release greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. These greenhouse gases cause our climate to get warmer. Normally, when the heat from the sun warms our planet, some of the heat reflects back into space. But greenhouse gases act like a big blanket, holding some of it in. This extra heat can cause all sorts of problems for our planet, and the plants, animals, and people who live here. Our ice and snow are melting faster. Our oceans are getting warmer and higher, and our weather is becoming more extreme, with more heat waves, heavy rainfalls, and powerful hurricanes. Luckily, many countries around the world are working together to fight climate change. And there are lots of easy ways you and I can help too, like reusing things instead of throwing them out. Instead of driving, ride your bike or take the bus. Use less electricity and eat food grown closer to home. You and I, we can make a difference. We can fight climate change.
Good day everyone, and today we're going to tackle about Chapter 4, Climate Change and Energy Crisis. In this chapter, we will know how climate change and energy crisis affects our daily lives, the society, our livelihood, and especially how these comes affect our world in our living. What is climate change? Climate change refers to the change in global or regional patterns, in particular, a change apparent from the late 20th century onwards and attributed largely to the increased level of atmospheric carbon dioxide by the use of fossil fuels. NASA defines climate change as a broad range of global phenomena created atmosphere. What are the causes of climate change? Most climate scientists agree that the main cause of current global warming trend is human expansion of the greenhouse effect, warming that results when the atmosphere traps heat radiating from Earth toward space. Climate change is the long-term alteration of temperature and typical weather patterns in a place. The cause of current climate change is largely human activity like burning fossil fuels like natural gas, oil, and coal. Burning these materials releases what are called greenhouse gases into Earth's atmospheres. Water vapor increases as the Earth's atmosphere warms, but so does the possibility of clouds and precipitation, making this some of the most important feedback mechanism to greenhouse effect. Carbon dioxide, a minor but very important of the atmosphere carbon dioxide, is released through the natural processes such as respiration and volcano eruption, and through human activities such deforestation, land use changes, and burning fossil fuels. Methane, hydrocarbon gas produced both through natural sources and human activities, including the decomposition of waste in landfills, agriculture, and especially rice cultivation, as well as ruminant digestion and manure management associated with domestic livestock. Nitrous oxide, a powerful greenhouse gas produced by soil cultivation practices, especially the use of commercial and organic fertilizers, fossil fuels, composition, nitric acid production, and biomass burning. Chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, synthetic compounds entirely of industrial origin used in a number of applications but now largely regulated in production and released to the atmosphere by international agreement for their ability to contribute to destruction of ozone layer. They are also greenhouse gases. What are the effects of climate change? The effect of anthropogenic, or the human cause climate change range from more frequent and severe droughts and snowstorms and extreme winter weather in temperature regions as a result of warming Arctic weather fronts. It's not only 5 humans that are affected by warming ocean temperatures are increasing the frequency of coral reef bleaching. Warmer, drier weather means that forests in some regions are no longer recovering from wildfires and wildlife. Habitats around the world are becoming less hospitable to animals. The cause of climate change is through the human activities, and there's a lot of effect of climate change. Due to climate change, there is a lot of effect. First is our livelihood, our health, and our physical, our mental and emotional. Tungod sa kaning climate change, masinati na to ang lahi-lahi nga trahedya, labi na sa to ang pang kalusugan, no? Dili lang kay pangkalusugan ang epekto sa climate change but also sa natural disasters like El Nino, La Nina, landslides, low tide, or other.
Good day, ma'am. I am Shahara Carmina Monticalvo. I will continue the report of Eric Bell Ledesma. So my topic is, how is climate change affecting the Philippines? The Global Risk Index listed the Philippines as the number one most affected country by climate change because of its geography. The Philippines is located in the Western Pacific Ocean, surrounded by naturally warm water that will likely even get warmer as average sea surface temperature continue to rise. Kasi ang Pilipinas ay malapit lamang sa Pacific Ocean, kaya madaling mabago-bago ang panahon. Kaya naman, madaling magkaroon ng bagyo dito. The Philippines also lack natural barriers. As a collection of over 7,000 islands, there is almost nothing standing between them and the sea. In addition to their coral reefs, and one of the best buffers against typhoons are the Philippines mangrove ecosystem. Alam naman natin na ang Pilipinas ay daanan ng mga bagyo, kaya dapat magtanim ng mangroves upang maproteksyonan ang ating karagatan at para hindi masyadong malakas yung tama ng bagyo. In the Philippines, the effect of climate change and global warming cannot be denied. There used to be a clear delineation between the dry and wet weather or summer and rainy months. Alam naman natin na ang Pilipinas ay nakakaranas ng El Nino at La Nina. Ang El Nino ay yung tag-init at ang La Nina ay yung tag-ulan. There's a 6 ways by which climate change affects our country. First, more intense El Nino. The El Nino phenomenon occurs when the surface of the ocean waters in the southern Pacific becomes abnormally warm. The energy created by this is so great that it can create an imbalance in the weather in the different parts of the world. Ang El Nino ay yung nararanasan natin na sobrang init na nagdadry na yung lupa at maraming pananim na ang namamatay. Number 2, sea surface temperature to rise. By the end of the century, sea surface temperature are expected to rise by 1 to 4 degrees Celsius. This can lead to more powerful storms because storms get their strength from heat rising from the sea. Kung tataas yung level ng dagat, ay magkakaroon ito ng isang matinding kalamidad. Number 3, ocean acidification. The shift in the Philippines level of our oceans can lead to widespread coral reef deaths because of the imbalance. Shrimps are not be able to develop skin. Oyster cannot develop shells. Ocean acidification is one of several effects of climate change on oceans that coral reefs deaths and also the seafoods affected too. Number 4. Sea levels to rise by 4 to 6 meters. Current data show an increase in sea surface heights. Scientists say this is due to the melting of ice sheet in the southern and northern portion of the globe like Antarctica and Greenland. Habang pataas ng pataas yung level ng tubig sa dagat, ay nakakakos ito ng melting ice sheet in southern and northern portion of the globe. Kaya malaki itong impact sa ating kalikasan. Number 5, tropical cyclones to intensify. The creation of tropical cyclones is already being recorded in areas where the phenomenon had never been observed. Tropical cyclones, ito na yung hudyat kung low pressure lang ba or bagyo yung mabubuo niya. Rainfall, river flows, and flooding to intensify. Monsoon rainfall in the Philippines will reach new highs and lows. Some part of the country will make it more difficult for agriculture and horticulture sectors which are highly dependent on weather. Dahil sa pagkalbo ng ating kabukiran, it can cause landslides at kawawa yung nakatira sa ibaba dahil sila yung matinding naaapektuhan.
There are causes of energy crisis. So first is overconsumption. The energy crisis is a result of many different strains in our natural resources. Not just one, there is a strain on fossil fuels such as oil, gas, and coal due to overconsumption, which then in turn can put a strain on our water and oxygen resources by causing population. Second is overpopulation. Another cause of the crisis has been a steady increase in the world's population and its demands for fuel and products, no matter what type of food or products you choose to use, from fair trade in organic to juice made from petroleum products in a wet shop. Not one of them is made or transported without a significant drain on our energy resources. And third is poor infrastructure. Aging infrastructure of power generating equipment is yet another reason for energy shortage. Most of the energy producing firms keep on using outdated equipment that restrict the production of energy. It is the responsibility of utilities to keep on upgrading the infrastructure and set a high standard of performance. Fourth is an explore renewable energy option. Renewable energy still remains unused in most of the countries. Most of the energy comes from non-renewable sources like coal. Renewable energy resources has reduced our dependence on fossil fuels and also help to reduce greenhouse gas emission. So we should explore another thing para makasave ta sa atong energy. Fifth is delay and commissioning of power plants. In a few countries, there is a significant delay in the commissioning of new power plants that can fill the gap between demand and supply of energy. Wastage of energy. In most part of the world, people do not realize the importance of conserving energy. People do not realize the importance of conserving energy. It is only limited to book the internet, newspaper, ads, live service, and seminars. Unless we give it a serious thought, things are not going to change anytime sooner. Simple things like switching off fans, like when not in use, using maximum daylight, walking instead of driving for short distances, using CFL instead of traditional bulbs, proper insulation for leakage of energy can go along with saving energy. Then next is poor contribution system. Frequent drifting and breakdown are the result of a poor distribution system. 8 is major accidents and natural calamities. Major accidents like pipeline bursts and natural calamities like the eruption of volcanoes, floods, earthquakes can also cause interruption to energy supplies. The huge gap between supply and demand for energy can raise the price of essential items, which can give rise to inflation. Next is wars and attacks. Wars between countries can also hamper the supply of energy, especially if it happens in the Middle East, countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, UAE, or Qatar. That was the happened during the 1990 Gulf War when the price of fuel reached its peak, causing global shortage and created major problems for energy customers. 10th is miscellaneous factors. Tax hikes, strikes, military coup, political events, severe hot summers or cold winters can cause a sudden increase in demand for energy in short supply. A strike by trade unions in an oil-producing firm can cause an energy crisis. So, if there are causes, then there should be a possible solution to the problem of energy crisis. So, first is move towards renewable resources. The best possible solution is to reduce the world's dependence on non-renewable resources and to improve overall conservation efforts. Much of the industrial age was created using fossil fuels, but there is also known technology that uses other types of renewable energies such as steam, solar, and wind. Second is buy energy efficient product. Replace traditional bulbs with CFLs and LEDs. They use fewer watts of electricity and last longer. If millions of people across the globe use LEDs and CFLs for residential and commercial purposes, the demand for energy can go down and an energy crisis can be averted. Third is lighting controls. There are a number of new technologies out there that make lighting controls that much more interesting, and they help to save a lot of energy in cash in the long run. Recent lighting controls, slide lighting, touch dimmers, integrated lighting controls are few of the lighting controls that can help to conserve energy and reduce overall lighting costs. Fourth is easier grid access. People who use different options to irrigate power must be given permission to plug into the grid and getting credit for the power you feed into it. The hassles of getting credit for supplying surplus power back into the grid should be removed. Apart from that, subsidy on solar panels should be given to encourage more people to explore renewable options. Fifth is energy simulation. Energy simulation software can be used by big corporates and corporations to redesign and building unit and reduce running business energy costs. And engineers and architects designers could use this design to come with most energy efficiencies buildings and reduce carbon footprint. Sixth, perform energy audit. The energy audit is a process that helps you to identify the areas where your home or office is losing energy and what steps you can take to improve energy efficiency. Energy audit, when done by a professional, can help you to reduce your carbon footprint, save energy and money, and avoid energy crises. 7 is common standard in climate change. Both developed and developing countries should adopt a common stand on climate change. They should focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions through an effective cross-border mechanism. With current population growth and overconsumption of resources, the consequences of global warming and climate change cannot be ruled out, but developed and developing countries must focus on emissions cuts to halve their emissions from their current levels by 2050.